Playing a video game is oftentimes a very singular experience. Yeah, you have multiplayer, either in person or online, but the vast majority of games cater to a slice of existence limited to one person. All it takes is a 4K TV, a controller, and a set of headphones to be completely closed off from the world. This is likely why so many games work to emulate the experience of being with others. Most of the time, the character you're playing as isn't the only one on the screen. In a large number of adventures you can partake in within the virtual world, you're accompanied by a party of allies, a sidekick, or maybe a talking object. In a real-world experience dominated by individuality, developers take great care to ensure you don't feel alone. Maybe one of the best examples of this is the Persona series, in which relationships with other characters is one of the core mechanics. You level up your powers by spending time with the other members of your party, getting some ramen, going to the gym, or even just taking a bath together. The stronger your relationship is, the stronger your attacks will be. This extent of character interaction is one of the more recent aspects of video games. In the days of the ever-present arcade, games were so simplified and abstract that it was hard to gain insight into any of the characters present. And even if your playable character did show minimal signs of personality, there was never another for them to meaningfully interact with. Sometimes even, who you played as wasn't even human, like a spaceship, a frog, or an Italian. This is why arcades were a social destination. You weren't hanging out with the characters of the game, you were experiencing being with the real people that were there. With the advent of home consoles and more powerful PCs, video games have gone from a largely social endeavor to a more individual one. And thus is the importance of in-game characters for the player to have a strong bond with. If you make the player feel too isolated from others during their time with your game, you're going to end up triggering more ill feelings than pleasurable ones. In-game characters that you can grow to appreciate give the game some sense of personality. The characters of a turn-based combat game like Persona serve two interlocking functions. In combat, they serve the same roles as pieces on a chessboard, yet the player is made to care more about them thanks to the relationships you've experienced and their individual parts in the game's story. Oftentimes in the main plot, you're given some very high stakes that can have some major negative impact on one or more of the characters. This creates a sense of urgency when navigating a dungeon, and more pain when they're attacked in battle. The extraordinary amount of time you end up spending with these folks is staggering. Persona 5 is easily 100 hours long, or even more. That's more time than you spend with many people you know in real life, a fact that's equal parts impressive and nauseating. But even after such a long time, none of it feels wasted. The interactions you have with your group remain unique and interesting throughout the runtime, and build layer by layer. If there can be one game that perfectly displays how to make you care about the characters, Persona 5 is undoubtedly it. That's why not only does Persona excel at being an excellent game, it also shows its strengths as a powerful piece of life advice. It's almost a self-improvement game. It's crammed full of examples of how you can enhance your own life by following its lesson. One thing you may notice is that your main character doesn't spend any time lazing around just scrolling on his phone, melting his brain with an endless stream of GIFs and memes. He's out in the world, having new experiences with people that enjoy his company. The key to a fulfilling life is striving for this lifestyle yourself. But the sad reality is, you're not going to be constantly bombarded by texts from friends asking to hang out, with you never needing to ask them. If you really want to break out and be a social person, you have to be putting in that effort more of the time than not. But that's a good thing. You know that great feeling you get when you get asked somewhere because whoever's asking enjoys spending time with you? That's the experience you can give to others. But even if you're not always with someone else, so much can be gained from life just from experiencing time out in the world. Going to the gym, eating at a restaurant, or even working at your job gets you out among others, where you're able to feed off each other's collective energy. This is heavily contrast to sitting alone in your house, being sucked into the latest Ubisoft game. Maybe the most important thing that you can take away from Persona 5 is that video games are a nice supplement to a meaningful life, but not the foundation of one. This can be a difficult truth to come to terms with. It can be so easy to let laziness take over what should be ambition. But if you're able to commit more of your time to pursuing relationships with others and building something together, you'll be all the more rewarded for it. In this sense, you can treat life as an RPG, leveling up your skills and relationships, and using what you've accomplished in the past to bring you to new areas. Persona 5 shows what you can get out of life, with just a little guts, kindness, charm, proficiency, and knowledge.